What's up, guys? This is me, Crimson60620, and you see me actually doing some more of the art. Now, this is some shit that I was doing on stream the other day. I was at work, and of course, I work from home, and I'm actually in the middle of training, so I was like, "Fuck it, might as well do it. Might as well try to color it," because I just knew I wasn't gonna feel streaming that day. This was Tuesday, so it was yesterday. So what I was doing now is I had already traced it. I actually did a little bit more improvements to it, the actual picture. And what you're seeing it at, when I originally put it to my PlayStation 4, it was at 4 times speeds. Now it's twice as that. But you know, shit, like, yeah, this is the reason why I don't do coloring on the stream, because this is actually taking me with the coloring 3 hours. As you can see, I'm doing some spot work while I'm doing the actual coloring, trying to make sure I get the pupils to line up just right. And even though it's not something that you can see just overhead on the camera right now, you can only see a small outline. You'll see as I fill it in, you know, how I got some of the looking the fucking way it is. I don't know. Anyway, what you see me using is the Pro Brush markers from Winston and Norton. What you do is I do a lot of blending. That's what my thing is. I do a lot of blending. Now, a way to blend is light color, dark color. And what I've started to do is a lot of dark color and move the light color, kind of blend it in. And you see me checking, because one of the things that I do when I blend is it bleeds through the paper. Now, this is mixed media Canson paper, so it's not gonna bleed that much, but it fucking bleeds. What you see me now coloring is her shield, and I kind of had a fuck up on the shield. It came out darker than what I wanted, so almost had to put it a solid color. But you see me trying to start it off with like a light gray color, try to blend again, because you can actually blend pretty easily, but as you can see, the bleed actually did a little bit too much. But you know, hey, we don't make, what did Bob Rossi say? You make creative mistakes, and that's what it ended up being. Dark shield, oh well. So had to let that dry. So I was like, okay, next thing I want to actually work on is just trying to make sure that and I'm sorry that this kind of got out of frame, and as you can see, I started making a mess because I started picking up stuff, and I wanted to work on the Panther's leg, and what is out of the frame right now is just the claws. It was just me trying to work on section by section. I had an idea, and if you actually see on a picture on the right hand side, that's just me getting a kind of a guideline of where the shadows would actually fall when I do it. It's not a per se map of what I'm going to do, but it gives me an idea. And so what you see me doing is actually trying to space off where the leg is. And so again, because I'm not doing super hard lines, not because to me super hard lines is thick dark lines. I don't like doing thick dark lines. It kind of fucks up the blending, and you can do it, but it just won't look right blending. So what I use is fine liners with the different colors to be able to do a lighter color at first, and if I need to fine line over the dark color, then I can. And as you can see, I'm trying to find the right amount of blend for the leg and actually get those colors together that I want. So you see me do praline at first, and then I started filling in the colors and starting to do more and more for darker color. And you see me doing around the edges first and taking a line and actually just blended it in more. And that's the skin tone. That's the taste. That's the test for the skin tone that I wanted to do. Of course, I do a little bit of darkening, and I try to make sure I get all the crevices to make it look pretty much decent. You see me, I actually fuck it up a little bit because I was supposed to draw the skirt a little bit further down, but I didn't. I fucked it up. Oh well. Again, happy accidents, right? So you see me like trying to map out. And the reason why I'm a little bit jumping around everywhere is because I'm trying to make sure that I know where the blue starts. And it's a panther. Of course, panthers aren't blue. They're really black. But it's hard to actually, from my eye, it's hard to blend blacks and grays. And plus, I need to buy some more grays. If you want to actually help out with purchasing my art supply, you can actually help donate to my channel. But this is me a little running around a little bit better because I had decided my color scheme, kind of the blue and the orange yellow. You see me kind of getting her little crystal in the middle of it done. And now you see where I'm trying to find the right amount of blue, the right color of blue. What blue would actually work? Do I want a darker blue? Do I want a lighter blue? And of course, I try to blend and find my blue. And when I did find that blue that I wanted, it's kind of a midnight blue. Again, I have a mix of different markers, 2 types of Artist Loft, and then Proto Brush markers. I want to actually change to a little bit more of the Proto Brush, or because the blue and gray markers that you see me using, not the blue and white, but the blue and gray ones, they're discontinued by Michaels. If you guys want to actually, while I feel like I'm e-begging, if you guys want to help support the channel, you'll help me support, purchasing more markers while they're still around. So it was a little bit hard to tell because of the camera, but now you see the difference in the color between the one light blue and another dark blue. So the darkest color, I do have it around like the crevices, or I guess the creases, but you would actually see, again, you see me playing with a mouse because I'm literally in training while I'm doing this. So you see kind of me laying down that dark color, that dark base, and then just moving that color around to where you see the lightest color kind of sticking up and popping out to show where the shadow will be. Now, I'm not saying that I got the shadow perfect, but I wanted to show some deviation in it. So this is like a lull because I had to respond to shit. I probably got up and went to the bathroom, one or the other. You see my work headphones put down, so yeah, I probably got up and went to the bathroom. Yeah, see, putting the headphones back on. Like I said, I'm at work, shit. But you see me again touching up that color a little bit better. Just trying to make sure I spread that color out, because that's the thing. I don't want to look at it at a harsh, just a harsh break. I want it to, because it just gives it more visual appeal to have it where it just blends better. And the good thing about using these markers is they do bleed. They bleed a lot. But I kind of like them for that. They're perfect for blending with the right paper. And because I have mixed media paper, again, it's a little bit of a heavy paper. I still checking beneath. I do have a scrap sheet of paper beneath it, but you see how the tones actually could change. So, yeah, this is, again, just working in that color, trying to soften the lines up. I know when I originally did it, I had put the shadow around the collar at first, right by the neck. Then I realized, no, the head is going to have a little bit of a shadow. And as people were actually pointing out in the chat the other day when I was working on it, the head looked kind of weird. But now I got the head looking a little bit better. And it still looks kind of weird without the color. And that's one of the, I guess you can say that's one of the gifts that I have, that I can actually see the color as I want it. I don't want to, I'm not saying it's just one of those things like I have the talent, I have the skill, but no, I can see the color as I want it. Now, you may be a little bit pondering of why I wanted to put the gray there. The gray just at the top of the head, just to give it a little bit more to, actually a little bit of a different color. Of course, I'm going to blend it in. That you see me kind of blending on the top of the eyelids where it's a little bit raised and exposed to the light a bit more. and it kind of looks weird right now. It looks like a fucking mouse almost. But when you start seeing the color fill in, it actually looks a little bit better. It kind of looks like the picture on the right. So you actually see me blended it in. And of course, with any cat, you gotta have the fucking nose right. But I also threw in the whiskers. Now, right now, I think, yeah, still trying to correct some things when I do it, because you always, I forgot why I did the drawing that I needed to add like fangs. But you see me touching up the lines again, to make sure that, of course, the inside of the ears and stuff like that. I'm literally trying to make sure that I touch up everything to make this big cat, look distinctive and fierce, and just look presentable. And then I add the paws. Of course, the paws are going to be white. And one of the things that I've actually learned that I did a lot in this piece, and you're going to see it later, is I take the lightest gray and then start using the blender to stretch the colors so it can actually fade. So that's another thing that I did with this one. It's just a trick of actually how to use the markers. So you see me just taking a marker and just giving it a different color shade. And just going over the lines again. So you actually see me where if the cat is wearing a collar, the rider needs something to ride and hold on to. What I did was actually put a little bit of a shadow underneath. Like, even though it's leather has some thickness, and I wanted to make sure I do that with that thickness. Anyway, that's one of the things that I did with that one. All right. So again, I wanted the stones and gems that she's wearing to match what the cat is wearing. So I put some. Again, I just actually did more. More matching. I want to give it a visual consistency. Not that I had to. Fantasy thing. Of course, you're not gonna see a woman with a fucking buckler and a sword riding a big cat, but I wanted to give it some consistency. Originally, I wanted to kind of do a spear, but I didn't have that much space, so I did a sword, which was a scimitar, and fuck, it worked out for it visually. All right, so this is where I'm starting to look at just making sure that this is the reason why this was already an hour-long process by this time. So I was still working at it, and I was trying to. One of the things with blending is the colors do bleed, and the bleeding fucking colors, if you're not careful, they can bleed to a different part. And by this time, I still hadn't decided what the color of her dress would be. But when I started to see like the way the colors just coalesce, and the way blue and orange are like complementary colors, and I was just like, okay, let's do this. That's why the eyes are yellow versus the panther being blue. Now, another thing too, it just made sense to have like a gray dress. I had already given her a chitin, the Greek style dress that has like either strapless or has a strap or has one or two straps, but I had already did that so far, and I would just keep going and keep moving and keep pushing. Of course, cat had a tail. Now I'm still working on the tail. The tail is a tricky thing for me because, not in the sense it's, you want to give it like a realistic type thing. You don't want it to be prehensile like a monkey, but it's just like a fucking cat. Now, this is one of the things that I find that I may have just, if I would have done, if I could have done it different, if I could have done it different. I hit her with a high rise belt, almost like a waist guard over that gem, but it was just distinguishing. It was a little bit too much to put right next to a blue shield, but I guess that's just my personal taste. But I had originally planned for the shield to be a lighter color, but it worked out for me, in my opinion. Still, again, I'm doing this between work, guys. Alright, so wow, we are past the halfway point, and I still have so much to do. Well, not really. So what I did, you see me trying to make a decision about how the dress would be, and this is where I didn't want it to be just white. I did want more shading in it, and this is again where I start to use that whole technique of blending, of basic like a cool gray 6 to a 3, and it was some difference, but in a very short space like that, it's hard to find a difference. And I wanted to step down even further, so I got again a blender. I got the blender pen and had to step down. Drawing the boobies, of course, anime boobies. Who doesn't love boobies? I know, it's just me. I do a lot of drawing of women. I will admit that. But like, yeah, I do. And as you can actually see how I start to look at the color set, and at this point when I saw how the skin looked, and I wanted to reflect a lot of how just reflect not only her skin tone, because I already tested that, I already got her skin tone, but I've also decided what would I do with the hair. Red would be too auspicious. It's like it's too bright, it's too color, and I had just did a red color, and brown wouldn't actually fit because it wouldn't stand out against her skin. So like, no brown. Blonde, no, wouldn't work for this. So that's when I decided at this point, after and that's why I'm kind of like mulling around in my head. This is where I'm like, okay, we're gonna have her hair gray. So you see me working on her upper body, and the kind of lines that I'm using, I'm almost using the darkest shade as a line of where it is, but that's only because I know I'm gonna actually blend it out. So you see me actually using the Proto Blush marker as almost like a line, but it's because I'm gonna soften that line. I'm gonna soften that line and bring it out and make sure that it looks a little bit more natural, where it's not a hard line, and by the time I finish with it, it's no longer a hard line. So you actually see me working with those lines again, and you see how it starts to look more of a skin tone shade. And mind you, these aren't like super light markers. I mean, these aren't super dark markers, but because I'm able to blend it in and make it become better, it kind of softens it. Now, I think I have about $200 worth of markers, and that's because they're on discount. Before they were on discount, yeah, it would have been a lot more, but this is just me using just regular Michaels markers. That's all I'm using right now. Regular Michaels markers. And trying to get a shade and a blend on how a natural arm looked. I remember when I was working on this on stream, I couldn't get the arm right. But now it looks awesome. A little bit more work needed on the hands. I will give you guys that. But I think I actually like the way the finished thing of the arm actually looks. And you see me actually working on I had forgot what I did with the colors of the marker for her face, but you see me, I did end up doing kind of a fantasy of her being a gray, having like orange eyes. What you see me is taking my, right there, what I did was I took my kneadable eraser and just takes it and roll it over. It picks up most of the graphite, so it also lightens that. So when I do go over it with the fine liner, the fine liner doesn't have to cover as much graphite, and it makes it actually stand out. It doesn't have that graphite standing out as much. So you see me kind of going back over the legs, trying to keep it in line and matching with what I did before, as far as the arms, and I'm really just biding my time working on the face, because that could make or break it. That literally can make or break it. And with me working with the face, that just just a little bit cautious about that. If it doesn't look right in the face, it can totally fuck up a picture. Alright, so I'm still working on it, and one of the things that is, like, I've been trying to get used to is I've been trying to make sure that I get the face has tones. That's what I've been trying to, like, just do. Like, it's been one of those things where it's just like, when you look at somebody's face, they have tones, and you try to do it right and communicate that 3D. Although with this, I want to say one of my best accomplishments that I feel like I did with this, like, there you go. It's just, you see how messy it is underneath. I literally got her lips almost perfect. Like, I didn't put any lines around her bottom lip as much as the top lip, but it actually fit in really well. You see me kind of going over her hair with a light gray marker, and I'm going to actually trace back over it with the I'm going over it with a silver marker now, and I'm going to go over it with a gray marker once I actually finish, because I still need to map out the lines. Now, I literally could have just left the hair alone and left it that way, but no. What I wanted to do, and it's another thing that I had to do, because I don't have to worry about because it's so light, I don't have to worry about, like, the colors being so off. Again, just touching up right now her eyes. Still, come on, dude. Like, what the fuck? Why are you taking so long? Oh yeah, okay. I had to put actual pupils, because I've noticed a couple of my last few drawings, my people didn't have pupils. I don't want to go back and touch them. I've already scanned them and uploaded it. If I do need to go back and change it, I'll change it, but it's not necessary, especially with something like this. But to go back for those other pictures, it's not necessary. It's communicated properly, and the stuff that people are looking at are not the pupils in that person's eyes. So you see me actually lay down on, like, the darker gray, another cool gray 6, and you actually drop down to even cool gray 1 as the secondary blending. And you see me again doing work while I'm actually doing this. But it's cool because I'm actually doing a lecture. Doing some work training. That's one of the benefits of working from home. But again, I'm just laying down those thick lines to try to get it to blend. Where shadows would naturally fall on the lines that I had already pushed. One of the things that I have to do, it looks just visually stunning to me, is actually, I want to say, I don't know, it's visually stunning to me to have shadows even in hair, but not too heavy, and to follow some sort of you know, I don't know, it's to follow like no hair. You don't have see people hair with like single strands of hair. And also, if somebody is fucking moving around and they have flowing hair, like literally their hair is going to be flowing. Just a dramatic kind of like almost a balance to a picture, and you can see like this picture looks like it's missing something, and while I'm going through and actually going through it now, it's like you see how it's coming together. You see how it actually fucking feels fucking awesome. And I went back and did some more gray, and this is when I finally realized, shit, I'm gonna call her Tempest. It's kind of a play on Storm, and like, because like she obviously has a darker skin, and she has different color eyes, and she has silver white hair, and of course I didn't think of it afterwards. After I had already finished, she's riding a panther, and I was like, fuck, okay, now I definitely need to call her Tempest. But yeah, the sword actually didn't take as long as I thought it would. I thought I was gonna have some big bad revelation of the sword. It's a little bit different from what I originally drew it for, but not originally drew it, but what I originally mapped it out for. As you can see, you see a lot of shit piling up on the side. This is why it's a real hard for me to do a lot of this shit when I'm streaming, because coloring just takes a lot of energy. It's hard to actually do coloring as much as I want to, and still keep the streaming up. But yeah, sometime, one of these days, I'm gonna actually try it. So you see me actually going to put in a shadow down the middle of the blade, and that's specifically interesting because I wanted to communicate the blade has a little bit of a curve, but you know, it's just an artistic flair. It's just an artistic flair. So yeah, I'm coming up on the end of this video. So yeah, this is me working on Tempest. I'm doing a little bit of fine touches. I want to thank everybody who's taking the time to watch through the video. It's gonna be up on. It's already up on my DeviantArt page, and it's gonna be up on my Etsy store. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and support the channel by buying the art. You can again check Crimson6060 DeviantArt channel or my Etsy store, Lone Sage Art. Peace.